Okay, and of course, it's now Sygnus Tax 101. And so, good morning to our listeners, and we want to welcome again to another episode of that financial feature, Sygnus Tax 101. Today, we welcome back tax expert and managing director for Sygnus Tax Advisory Limited, Mr. Denzil Whyte. So, Denzil, please tell us, what's your topic today?
Good morning, Clive, and good morning to our listeners. Really good to be back. Today, what I want to talk about is a question that a taxpayer asked me. The person asked, if I am paying my tithes to my church, can that be treated as a deduction in the calculation of my taxes?
Who?
I don't know if you're paying tithes.
Yeah, but like, I never quite thought of that. So I don't know. What's the answer to that?
So the short answer is that it depends.
Oh.
Right? So there are 6 factors that we have to take into consideration.
Mm-hmm.
And they all come up in section 13(1)(q) of the Income Tax Act.
Okay.
So the first point is the taxes that you're calculating the same as that of the donor and the taxpayer? What am I getting at?
Mm-hmm.
You have persons that might have a company, but they're paying tithes in their name as an individual.
Yes.
Right? So first of all, you want to ensure that the taxpayer is the same as the donor. First point.
Mm-hmm.
Because taxes are personal. Yeah, the tax of the company is
Mm-hmm.
different from the tax of the individual that owns the company.
Yes.
The next point I want to go to is what is a donation? Because it has to be a donation, and a donation is a gift, Clive.
Mm-hmm.
It's not a exchange for equal value. Mm-hmm. It's not a promise, so it must be actually paid over. There's no donation because you say you're going to do it.
Mm-hmm.
You have to actually do it.
Okay.
A bounce check is not a donation. Yeah.
Okay, yes.
And if you go to a person and you patronize them, they're selling something, services or trade, you'll not leave that transaction thinking that you gave them something. You'll be thinking that you bought or you exchanged.
Yes.
Right? So for it to be seen as a donation, you must have given up something for nothing in return.
Oh, okay.
Yeah?
Yes.
All right, so we're moving on. The other thing is that the person you're paying the tithes to, Clive, must be a registered charity.
Okay.
Because that's one of the conditions in the Act.
Yes.
Yeah, so, and not everybody that is worthy, or not every church is a registered charity.
Okay.
Or even keeping up with all the requirements for them to remain registered.
Okay.
Because registration last year doesn't mean that you necessarily kept the status until this year.
Okay.
So it must be something that is maintained.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
The other thing is that the donation cannot exceed 5% or 1/20th of your statutory income. So if you reported a loss,
Mm-hmm.
you can't get any
donations. Okay.
And even if you reported a profit,
Mm-hmm.
there's a restriction because the amount that can be deductible cannot exceed 1/20th of the statutory income.
Yes.
If we look at all of those conditions and they are favorable, then yes, madam or sir taxpayer, you can get the contribution to your church as a deduction in calculating your taxes.
I see. So a number of requirements there on the law.
Absolutely.
This is why we need Sygnus Tax 101 and Sygnus Tax Limited. What about the wholly and exclusively incurred in acquiring the income condition? So let us say, and other factors that we need to look at.
Well, it's interesting that you mentioned that, Clive, because all deductions that are allowed come under Section 13. And one of the precursors in Section 13 is that which is allowed must be seen as wholly and exclusively incurred in acquiring the income. Now, a donation, based on its nature, is such that it would not be seen as requiring that condition because you are giving up something for nothing.
Yes.
So it's one of the unique items of deductions that are allowed.
Yes.
And that is to say, it's unless you are considering the social responsibility of the taxpayer and the relationship between that taxpayer carrying out fulfilling his social responsibility, building his social capital in the market that he operates, and if that effort and investment by him, his benevolence, actually is correlated to the result of his efforts to win business. So invariably you can argue that the more you give, the more favorably you'll be looked on in the community. Some persons even advertise that for everything you buy, I'll give this, and it may make a difference. I remember persons considering some of the major benevolent persons within the society and thinking, I need to give them my business. If you look at it that way, there's definitely a link to the donations that you make and you acquiring your income.
I see. Wow. The more I listen about, because initially when I heard about your in terms of your tithes, I'm saying, well, that's it. I mean, how could you ever seek to claim? But there are certain things under the law which may very allow you to do that, but they have to be strictly complied with. Yes.
Definitely, Clive. I want you to get it, but you have to stay within the law.
Yes. Excellent. So if anyone wants to know about Sygnus Tax Advisory Services, how can they contact your offices?
Before I go into the contact information, I wanted to share the Sygnus Tax 101 tip for today.
Sure.
So we did mention that there's a restriction of 5% or 1/20th of your income.
Yes.
But this normally trips up persons. So that's why I'm putting forward this tip. 1/20th is not of what you have before, but what you remain with after the donation. So think of it, Clive. If you have $20 and you gave away $1, it would mean you remain with 19.
Yes.
Would you say the $1 that you gave away is 1/20th of the 19?
Oh, that's where you're going. Yes.
No, it can't be.
Yes, that's
1
where you're
over
going.
19 is 1/19.
1/19, yes.
So actually, if you're going to end up with 1/20th, Clive, you have to actually see it as 1 over 21.
Over 21, yes.
Before you give it away,
yes,
divide it by 21. If you give away 1,
yes,
you will end up finding that the 1 that you gave away
yes,
is 1/20th of what you end up with, which is the $20. So it's kind of tricky.
Yes.
But the limitation is the net income after the donation. So that's the tip for today.
That's the tip. Well, that tip well worth giving. Thank you so much for that. And of course, we'll have to contact you for these things, because these things for the ordinary Joe like me, can be very, very taxing. Yes.
All right. So you can contact us by telephone 876-634-5016. You can contact us by email at stateam@sygnusgroup.com, or you can reach us through our website at sygnusgroup.com. We're only too willing to help to answer those questions that you might have, like this from this taxpayer this morning.
Absolutely. So thank you ever so much. That was Sygnus Tax 101. And join us again for another feature with tax expert and managing director of Sygnus Tax Advisory Limited, Mr. Denzil Whyte. All the best with you, Denzil.
Thank you, Clive. Have a good day.
Thank you.
See you
Bye-bye.
and your listeners. Bye.
Companies, entrepreneurs, finance managers, and directors, it is vital that you are in the know regarding tax planning opportunities and maintain tax compliance. So here is your opportunity to capitalize on high-class tax planning solutions. Our highly trained tax specialists are here to serve you. For more information, please contact Sygnus Tax Advisory Limited at 876-634-5016 or stateam@cygnusgroup.com. Sygnus Tax Advisory, one of the Caribbean's leading full-service tax solutions firm.